So now moving on to a more lighter note. No pun intended. So we've talked about this in the past here in Chicago Corner as well as on the show. Illinois is still in the recovery process from our 2-year budgetary crisis in which Speaker of the House and then Governor Bruce Rauner were basically fighting each other in regards for the budget of the state of Illinois. And a lot of facilities and state departments here within our state of Illinois were basically shut down, and there's still a mass exodus of people leaving this state, and there's not enough resources to fund our infrastructure or our school programs or any other social programs to help out the people in the state of Illinois. So here's what's happening right now. Illinois cannabis legalization bill would allow possession up to 30 grams and 5 plants grown at home. I think basically, to quote JTVJ as well as Cannabis, who are 2 Canadian viewers, you guys have legalized cannabis in your country. It looks like it's going to become a reality here in the state of Illinois, and it's long overdue. So here's some of the positive things that's going to happen. Basically, Illinois would allow possession up to 30 grams of the plant for residents 21 and over, a $20 million low-interest loan program to promote social equity in business ownership, and expunge misdemeanor and Class 4 felony cannabis convictions. This is big. Could it go further? Yes, but this is very big, specifically happening in the state, and it tells you about the political environment in the state of Illinois, specifically what's happening in Springfield, in the Illinois Senate and House, as well as with Governor J.B. Pritzker's administration. So here's some laws that's going to happen. This is from J.B. Pritzker as well, from Governor J.B. Pritzker. Illinois is going to have the most equity-centric law in the nation. And this is a statement he said to the Black United Fund of Illinois on Chicago's South Side. The governor and lawmakers are basically saying that this is going to be central to social justice provision for the proposal, and they plan on expunging what they estimate to be 800,000 low-level drug convictions. Again, 800,000 low-level drug convictions. So under the proposed rule, no new large-scale commercial growers will be permitted to set up shop here, at least for now. Instead, the focus would be on small craft growers with an emphasis on helping people of color become entrepreneurs in the cannabis industry. In addition, adults will be allowed to grow up to 5 plants per household in a locked room out of public view with the permission of the landowner. That's something. I'm a gardener. I like to grow tomatoes. I would also like to grow some cannabis as well, but we'll see what happens with that. This is from Representative Kelly Cassidy, who we've interviewed a long time ago on our radio show. We have to ensure it's not a small group of people getting very rich. She's one of the measure's major sponsors. We want to make sure a lot of new business leaders in the state get through this process as well. And this is from a summary from J.B. Pritzker's office as well. Permit fees would be $100,000 for growers and $30,000 for retailers, with lower fees for applicants from minority areas disproportionately affected with the convictions in the war on drugs. There would also be business development fee of 5% of total sales, or $500,000, whichever is less, for cultivators, and up to $200,000 for dispensaries, with lower fees for social equity applicants. Cultivators and processors would pay 7% of gross sales to dispensaries, while consumers would pay a 10% sales tax on products with less than 35% THC, the component that gets users high. Wow, you gotta love whoever wrote this article. 20% of the cannabis-infused products, such as edibles, and 25% sales tax on products with more than 35% THC, such as for concealed extracts, also known as shatter and wax. The municipalities may add an extra 3% of sales tax, as well as with counties tacking on other 0.5% in incorporated areas and 3.5% in unincorporated areas. On the tax revenue generated, 35% will go to the state general fund, 25% for community reinvestment, 20% for mental health and substance abuse treatment, 10% for the state's unpaid bills, and 8% for law enforcement training grants, and 2% for public drug education. So this bill is going to generate a lot of money for the cannabis industry, specifically here in Illinois. It could boost up also tourism, especially in a lot of areas in the state that need reinvestment. especially through infrastructure and tourism, as well as the possibility of having affordable housing and rent in our state. However, there is some small pushback, and I doubt they're going to gain traction because already, let's look at what's happening here in this country. The opinion on cannabis legalization and decriminalization is very popular. You have people from numerous demographics and political backgrounds basically supporting its legalization. So let me give you guys just what these opponents are saying. The one group that's called Smart Approaches to Marijuana supports efforts to slow down on the legalization of cannabis, and they're basically saying that it's addiction for profit industry, and they want to make sure that it just doesn't get out. And one person, Kevin Sabat, the president and founder of Smart Approaches to Marijuana, says marijuana is not inevitable. Well, tell it to states like Colorado, California, Washington, Oregon, where they're already having a booming cannabis industry and people don't care. It's going to happen. And not to mention, I like to see them try and walk up into Canada and tell them that cannabis should not be legal. It's ridiculous that we're even having this conversation now. We've seen the ridiculous cost of the war on drugs, and the fact that the United States is the highest incarcerated population really says a lot too. So prohibition doesn't work. But it looks like this is going to pass, and it's going to successfully pass in the Illinois State Senate and House with the governor's approval. I'm pretty sure he's going to sign the bill right away. It was one of his main campaign promises during the 2018 midterm election cycle. So if he follows through with it, I can guarantee this, he could possibly secure a second term if everything goes good. And because the Democrats right now in the state of Illinois control the House and Senate, it looks like the case. Again, it's something we got to follow up on, but this is a story that's continuing to evolve here. And any kind of updates, check it out here on Chicago Corner. We'll let you know what's happening with cannabis legalization in our state.